From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Our top story, the Red Cross, along with state and federal officials, have completed assessments of all the villages that have been impacted by spring flooding.
News Center 11's Monty Bowen has more in this report.
Teams were sent to Galena and other flood areas where they looked at every house, got the damage information, and brought it back to put into a database. Now they've set up what they call casework centers,
where we have them in Anchorage, in Fairbanks, and in Galena. And we are providing financial assistance to families who have been impacted by and have had losses during this flood.
Most of the flood stories we've heard recently were about Galena since it was hardest hit, but it wasn't the only place suffering high water problems.
We've got a team that's going to be going into Circle tomorrow, as well as Fort Yukon, and then into next week the state is setting up disaster assistance centers, and we are going to be right alongside of them.
Because people were evacuated from Galena, some may have missed out on information they need to get help.
We started on Wednesday with opening this center here in Fairbanks, as well as in Anchorage. And we were busy that day. We saw about 31 of the families. Yesterday was a very slow day, half of that number. Today is starting out slow, and we, at the same time, are very busy in Galena.
It appears that even though the village may not be ready yet, a lot of people have gone back there.
There's a lot of contaminants in Galena. There's a lot of hazmat, all kinds, and at all degrees and all levels. Now they're piling up large piles of debris in the streets and so forth, and it's not the safest place to be. But we also know that people are concerned about their homes.
People needing help can go to the Red Cross office located on 26th Avenue in the Food Bank building.
We're going to be here 10 to 7 today, Saturday, Sunday, and again, we're going to be doing the same in Galena. And we're hoping that that message gets passed on between families and the community so that they know we're here.
Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
Senator Lisa Murkowski today wrote President Obama to ensure interior Alaskans recovering from receding spring floodwaters are given the same federal assistance to help their communities recover as all others across the nation. She said it would be wrong to exclude these communities from individual assistance simply because they are small and remote. As of June 12th, the state of Alaska has reported the destruction of 15 homes, 107 suffering major damage, and an additional 72 having suffered minor damage, most of them in Galena. She said in cases of widespread damage and destruction, as was seen in Oklahoma and in Galena, federal aid is warranted.
If you were wondering where all the smoke was coming from late Thursday, the Fairbanks North Star Borough was the location. At about 7:15 p.m., fire was discovered at the landfill. When Fairbanks City firefighters arrived, they say they found an area about 100 feet by 50 feet of construction debris and household trash burning. City Fire got mutual aid assistance from North Star, Steese, and North Pole fire departments to help extinguish the fire. Landfill employees also got in on the action using heavy equipment on the fire as well. The fire put off a large amount of smoke and heat. A direct cause of the fire is unknown and no injuries were reported.
The temperatures are up and the camping season is upon us, which means risk of wildfires in the interior are high. There are a few fire managing skills to make note of before you ignite the grill, bonfire, or fireworks. The Alaska Wildland Fire Coordinating Group has several management options in order to protect Alaska's resources, including land, wildlife, and air quality. Fire management official Mel Slater explained how most wildfires are caused by humans and gave some tips on how to prevent such things from happening.
It gets hot, it gets dry, and then when you have lightning or some kind of spark from equipment that folks might be dealing with, from campfires, from fireworks, when you have a campfire, you need to make sure that it's contained within a metal barrel so it will prevent the spread of fire. You also want to make sure that when you put the fire out, you put a lot of water on it, stir the fire around or the mud around, and then touch it to see if it's still hot. And you want to do all of that before you ever leave the location. And that's one of the good ways that we can prevent fires.
67-year-old Darla Coghill, the former Anderson City clerk, has been placed on probation for 2 years for misdemeanor theft and a plea deal with the state. Prosecutors said she was overpaid about $2,000 and used her city credit card to pay personal expenses of about $8,000. The court ordered her to pay back money.
The borough and Bernie Carl are talking another land swap proposal. It involves selling nearly 1,500 acres of land to Carl for the Chena Hot Springs Resort, which he owns. The first time around, Carl backed out, saying the land's appraised value was way too high. The assembly told the administration to get another appraisal and averaging the two. Instead, the administration came up with a different proposal that will come before the assembly in a couple of weeks.
All right, well, when we come back, the Midnight Sun Run is coming up, and they're looking for people to help with the race.
Also, it is Friday, time for another garden report. Those stories are next. Stay with us. And welcome back. Lieutenant Governor Meade Treadwell today certified a ballot initiative application to legalize marijuana in Alaska. Supporters now have a year to collect 30,169 signatures from qualified voters to get the question on the ballot. Organizers hope to have enough signatures by January to have it on next year's primary ballot. The proposal would make it legal for those 21 and older to use and possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana, though not in public. It also would set out provisions for legal grow operations and establish an excise tax. It will take about a week for the petition booklets to be printed. Once they are delivered, the signature gathering process can begin.
The annual Midnight Sun Run 10K event is just over a week away. This year, the race will take place on June 22nd. The biggest change for the event is Fairbanks Resource Agency has taken over from United Way of the Tanana Valley as event manager. So far, over 2,000 participants have registered, with another 1,500 expected to do so in the next week. Race officials are in strong need of more volunteers as the big day draws closer.
Our needs right now are at the finish line area. And so if you're not running the race and you'd like to work anywhere from 7 o'clock on till 1 a.m. on race day, that would be very helpful. You can contact Marie at 456-8901 and she'll be happy to plug your name into open slots.
With the heat wave we will have through the weekend, this is a perfect time for planting cucumbers. Here's Michelle Hebert with some hints.
Hi, I'm Michelle Hebert from the University of Alaska with your weekly garden tip. We're in a cucumber greenhouse today, actually Rory Rushlo's, and he's going to give us some tips on being successful at growing cucumbers in the interior of Alaska. Rory, you have cucumbers that have already been harvested as early as the first week in June. You're very successful at this. What are 3 of your tips for growing cucumbers?
Fertilizer, a lot of love. A lot of love, a lot of patience, a lot of time out here. Right.
Well, I noticed the first thing is you keep the temperature nice and hot. What's a good temperature for cucumbers?
75.
And you want to keep them pretty constant at 75?
Yes.
That's really good. And we always worry about pollination with cucumbers. Are you having to hand pollinate these?
No, I'm not. They pollinate themselves, but I can just shake them, but I let the bees in, let the bugs in, and they take care of them.
Now, do you need to prune them at all?
You do need to stop the noise coming off. They come off each one. You need to break them off to get them to climb up and do what you want them to do.
So, Rory, how often are you fertilizing these cucumber plants?
Every day.
Every
day, yes.
With a soluble?
Yes, every day. Light one and then a heavy one every week, every 2 weeks or so.
And you know, I've noticed that outside of the greenhouse, Rory has some soil warming containers where he actually lets that water get nice and warm. So the plants are never shocked with that Alaskan cold water.
No, they're not.
Well, thanks, Rory, for having us out. Again, if you want to have good cucumbers, keep them at that right temperature, 75. Keep those things pruned off, the nodes in the middle, and give them lots of love and lots of fertilizer. This has been Michelle Hebert with your weekly garden tip. Please join us next week when we'll have more ideas to help improve your success at gardening in the interior of Alaska.
Gardening tips brought to you by Fairbanks Stump Grinders.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
We got Joe here, we got Daryl here, and we got Stephanie here. We're the crew.
Yeah, we are.
Nice.
All right. Oh, I missed. All right. Anyway. But I'm not good at doing that, but I hear there were some fights last night that were
Yes, we're
epic.
going to get into the ring coming out of the break. MMA fighting action last night. We have all the knockouts and submissions from a great card of fights. Plus, some Olympians will be coming to the Golden Heart City soon. Find out who and when coming up next.